In January, I wrote in my planner, I make a resolute decision to not think certain thoughts. I was like, I know what that I can fill in the blank there. What kind of thoughts don't I want to think anymore? So, and as I've thought about release, I look at it as cyclical. Right? Sometimes we enter a period of growth and rebuilding, and other times discomfort motivates me to make changes in my life. As with the seasons, there is the dying back and going inward, followed by a reemergence, slowly at first. And then the world is full of green and blossoms again. And it feels good to acknowledge the habits I've let go of over the years. I think of it in terms of coping skills, right? I'm trying to get by. So sometimes we outgrow our old coping strategies, right? And what once served us well to get by is no longer the answer. And we may feel that as tension or discomfort beginning to creep in and signal to us that something feels off. And this signals that it's time to pause and listen to the sensations that our body is giving us. Because, Lord, our minds, I sometimes ask, my friend and I were laughing the other day, why does it feel like my mind is trying to kill me? Right? Like, what's up with that? So getting into the body is the distinction here. Because the body dwells in the present. Yeah. Hallelujah. So what was a decent coping strategy for me in college? Coffee, cigarettes, and snacks. Now, it got me through with honors. But it began to take a toll on my body. And I needed to let them go over time in order to not enter into an antagonistic relationship with my body. My body was giving me messages. It was a loving messenger. It was very uncomfortable. So what we're really setting out to do is release our resistance to discomfort. Take a moment to sit with that. Releasing our resistance to discomfort. How does that feel when you think about it? What might that look like in your life? We have been insulating ourselves to get by. And when we receive the moments of inspiration from our higher self and divine source love to stop destructive patterns, we can see how discomfort provides an opportunity for honest reckoning and deeper inner life as we stop seeking that relief outside of ourselves. When we are not fully feeling, we are not fully in the flow of life. Maybe it is fear that is holding us back. And this can be challenging because sometimes what my higher self is asking of me is different than what my sensory personality wants. And that can create a lot of inner conflict. But we're here, we gather together because we want to evolve and we want to invite more of our higher self into this embodiment. So the more I fight with myself and drag my feet, the more I might tend to involve others in my personal drama as well. So I put up a picture of electrical resistors because it's flow and resistance, right? We're insulating ourselves, and love is insulating, right? Like our nervous system is insulated with the myelins. Those are made of fat, healthy fat, right? So in Ayurveda, the word for oil, when I do oil therapies with people with herbs in them, and the word for oil and the word for love are almost the same word, sneha. So love is oily. Love is a little thicker than water. It's very insulating and protecting to the electrical inspiration system. We have the opportunity to ground it in love. And when I ran into Lonnie in the parking lot on the way here, he basically I was like, Lonnie, would you like to give the talk today? He goes, releasing resistance to the flow of life, Lonnie says. And he said, when we get in our own way, that's ego. It's like, thank you. The end, yeah. So the flow and the resistance. So I asked Christy to play a video because rather than trying to explain Hey, the chicken, to people who haven't seen Moana, I just want to ask you to watch this and maybe you can relate.
It's okay. You're all right. See? There we go. Nice water. The ocean is a friend of mine. Hey! Hey!
So who here has felt like that at some point? Yeah? Man, that feeling when you take the blinders off, when you take the coconut off your head, you're like, oh my, I'm in the middle of the vast open ocean, and some moments I might feel utterly alone, and that's a very scary prospect, to be alone with myself. When I'm still running, when I'm still fighting or fleeing, as Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, the only thing to fear is fear itself. So I believe many of us here are learning to sit still with that discomfort. Even when our skin is crawling and our mind is like, I think I might die. It's just such an interesting thing when I'm able to get a little bit of perspective on it and going, I'm just going to take another breath, and I'm not going to take any action. I'm not going to call. Maybe now isn't the moment to call someone or write a text or fill in the blank. Maybe it's just to look at my own discomfort and see if there's something hidden there that I can hold with love. So there's a balance between accepting myself as I am now and attempting to love my whole self in earnest, and the act of deep self-introspection in which the hard, uncomfortable truths come to the surface. Release isn't avoidance or suppression. Sometimes it is letting go of my attachments to what I think I know, my preconceived notions, and entering into beginner's mind to allow myself to learn something new, to hear differently, to allow the growth edges of my consciousness to expand. An awareness of our inner intention becomes the underlying motivating factor of our every action. So, I'll say that again. When I start to look at these things, I start to become aware of my inner intentions. Sometimes my inner intentions are unconscious to me, but when I start to get myself to look at this stuff, then I get more clarity on what my inner intention is, and I consciously am choosing it to be the motivating factor behind my actions. As Charles Fillmore says in The 12 Powers of Man, we are making our bodies eternal dwelling places for the soul. Our goal is to bring into expression the kingdom of the heavens and to establish it within us. And the power of renunciation or release is located in none other than the bowels. And this indicates that we must fully digest our experiences in order to let that crap go. Let that crap go. But really, right? That digestion, it's a transformation process. So in the book of James, verse 17, it says, faith by itself, if not accomplished by action, is dead. And our work here is internal. Right? Sometimes, we might judge ourselves. What am I even doing? No. Just give yourself that love and know that this work is sacred and valuable, worthy of our time and patience. In Essential, Ken Wilber, he says, let the self-contraction relax into the empty ground of its own awareness and let it there quietly die. So when I stop running after pleasure or running away from discomfort, I can sit still and start to connect with the source of nurture within myself. And eventually the highs and lows of my life begin to look more like a gentle sine wave instead of a roller coaster thrill ride. Right? Now I'm laughing. I'm like, I have this slide isn't lining up with the order of my notes here. Let's see. Well, what I want to say about this is, a lot of times we hear the analogy of an onion, right? There's layers to an onion. And we take them off one at a time, and there's seasons to it. But I prefer to think of myself as a fennel bulb, which is this green, sassy, big green fronds and aromatic fennel. So those are my layers. They're in a form of a fennel bulb. But whatever you are, onion, fennel, ogre. Ogres have layers. So there are seasons to life to shed layers, and I allow myself to feel unconditionally. So we're going to do some inner work together today. And resiliency comes from being resourced. And so in our actions and kind in our thoughts. And I will share more on resiliency and nervous system resilience, as that's the topic of my next talk in this series. But what I want to share together today is that vocal toning, mantra, humming, singing, chanting. In other words, making intentional sound is an entry point into inner awareness, and it helps dissolve. It helps dissolve stagnation and other forms of resistance. So I want to invite us to Om together, and we can do some rolling Oms, which means that you follow your own breath. We'll start together on an inhale, and then just go with your breath. So your Om might be rising and falling at a different time than your neighbor. And eventually, I'm going to start to add in some other vowels and consonants with the idea of seeing if you feel these resonating different parts of your body. So the lower tones and the higher tones and the see. And if you feel inspired, feel free to play around, because it is playful, all right? Be like children. Don't take ourselves too seriously. I had a friend of mine, an elder, say to me, think you're looking at the shadow too much. Allow yourself to be joyful. So if you feel like playing around with the different tones, please do. But when you hear them, just notice if you are aware of the sensation within your body. Okay, so let's take a deep breath together. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for humoring me. How are you feeling? Would anybody like to share? Okay. So Millie says her shoulders are feeling more relaxed. That's a lot. Centered, right? Not more carrying the weight of on your shoulders anymore. It's feeling centered, and it was great. Yay. You felt the energy moving. Yes. Oh my gosh, remind me your name. Elizabeth. She said she loved the collective Om, for friends watching online, that there's really something to it when we're doing this together. There's energy. Yeah. And I felt like I was hitting a renunciation sound there with the Om. And I have all these tools, right? I have chimes and bowls and rain stick, but we really don't need any of that. Our bodies are resonant instruments. We don't need any of those tools. Have fun, play around with your own body, and slide that sound up and down. So see if you can bring the sound into your knee. or into your release and renunciation center. I often feel like different tones will meet, I might meet a resistance, and when I hit a tone where I'm storing something, I feel it, and then I can get underneath it and around it and explore there with curiosity and love. So, if it's any consolation, much of the discomfort that we're dealing with is not innately human. Rather, it is culturally shared. In Destructive Emotions and How to Overcome Them, a scientific dialogue with the Dalai Lama, narrated by Daniel Goleman, they discuss Harvard psychology research, notably that arousal states are more valued in Western culture than in Chinese culture. So our culture tends to value external pleasure and control rather than inner peace and community. So, yeah. So we have the process of unlearning outdated and harmful beliefs and habits. And as we release, we can fill the space in with divine love and clear intention. Release opens us up to the expansive nature of love. I've done some fasting over the years, and in Transformational Fasting by Stephen Herod Buhner, he says, until you can fast with love, you're not ready to fast. Like if you're doing it because you want to change yourself and you don't like yourself, just wait. Just don't hurt yourself. I'm choosing to fill the space of the gunk that I'm releasing and my attachment to pleasure, because I love to cook and eat. I'm choosing to fill that with reverence for God and love and song. And my nervous system is asking for gentleness and patience and reduced stimulation. So, in our culture, I believe overstimulation is the addiction we are all engaged with, in a nutshell. So letting go, it's letting go of overthinking and learning to stay embodied in the present. It's not looking at my phone as much. It's keeping sweet treats in moderation. It's sitting still and being intentional. I find a lot of comfort in knowing that the universe and the stars are bringing energies into our lives that help us know when it's time to let go. And part of that is the unknown. Right? I've come to believe that certainty is an illusion. Don't shoot the messenger. Certainty is an illusion. Surrendering into the unknown is part of that letting go and releasing. And I spoke to this a little bit, but a purgative cleanse is not required. Although in life, for many of us, fasting is beneficial, it is the integrative work in between where the medicine and magic live. The mundane, the everyday, how we're carrying these insights with us into our daily lives. And I believe what it boils down to is releasing our resistance to fear. Fear of my own feelings, fear of our lack of control of the outside world, fear of the unknown. And baby steps are all that's required to revolve. And may noticing with love and curiosity brighten